Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the United Stand. I'm joined by Paul Ince again. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, I'm good, Marky. How are you?
Good, I'm good. We've got our video coming out at midday on my channel. The link's in the video description. Driving with Goldbridge with Paul Ince. It's a must-see. It's not all about football, but you loved that day, didn't you? Being driven around.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, he wasn't the best of drivers. A bit like Miss Daisy, I must add, and very slow. But the chat was enlightening. Very good chat. Had a laugh, had a bit of fun, which is the most important thing.
Make sure you check that out, everybody. It's coming out at midday. The link's in the video description for that to subscribe to that channel. But we're going to start off with the latest news, and we're going to start off. I mean, we've not spoken since before the Everton game, so lots to talk about the midfield and Ollie and everything like that. Also, I just spoke to Paul before on air and said, would you tell us about what it was like in the dressing room after Beckham got sent off in '98? So he's promised he'll do that. But we're going to talk about Paul Pogba first of all. Interesting story yesterday, Paul. There was a story from France that Pogba wanted to, his desire was to stay at Manchester United. I said on the show yesterday, I'll guarantee you there's a story coming out in the next 24 hours from Raiola or Pogba to put that right, because they won't want a story like that out when they're looking to keep their options open. Played for France last night, played very well for France last night, comes out after the game and basically says this. I always speak with my former Juventus teammates like Dybala. I'm in Manchester now. I'm under contract until June, and then we'll see. I want to complete this season at my best level, and then we will see. Hardly committing his future to United, is it?
Well, listen, Mark. I mean, we said this when we, I think 3 weeks ago, when it came out that Paul Pogba was going to sit down and talk about a contract, long-term contract with Manchester United, and I said to you, it ain't going to happen. I just don't see it. I don't know where the news came from, who they're trying to kid. I don't know. But what I do know is that, and it happens so often, when players go away on international football, there's always a story that comes out after. They always speak to their own press about their own future. Yet in England, nothing at all. And it's happened all the time. It's happened for years and years.
Especially with Pogba.
Especially with Pogba, yeah. And they do it all the time, And I've seen it as a manager. Players come back and say, well, how come you said this in the French press or the Italian press? They go, I was misinterpreted. I didn't mean it that way. But they do it. They really do it. So it doesn't surprise me. It really, really doesn't, because I knew that was always going to be the case anyway. I could tell, even from the first 2-3 games when he was playing really, really well. And we thought, wow, this is a new Pogba. This is a different Pogba. And then R7 came and we thought, right, he must have thought, yeah, here we go. But then since then, his performances haven't been great for United. Things haven't been great for United as far as performances are concerned. And I was never convinced that he would sign a contract in January. Why would he? Why would he put pen to paper? I mean, I was one or two options. I was thinking, well, depending, it can be a risk because you've only got 4 or 5 months left. If you happen to have a bad injury, then you're in trouble. God bless it, never happens. But apart from that, he's always, since day one under Mourinho, he's always kind of hinted, and so is Raiola, that, he wants to go back to Juventus or he wants to go to Real Madrid, or that's his dream club. So for Man United to come out and try and hoodwink everybody, including the fans, to say that, oh yeah, we're negotiating about a new contract, it's a load of baloney, because it was never going to happen. And I knew that, and I think we must be very fickle not to think that 1 minute he won't be seeing his contract out in at the end of the season. And why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he do? It's a bit like Jesse Lingard. Another one, The thing that annoys me more than anything is, how do these managers and these clubs let their players get down to the end of their contracts? It baffles me, Sir Alex Ferguson, as soon as you got to 1-2 years, they were negotiating another one for 3-4 years. One, it protects the club as an asset, and you don't lose any money on the player. But for United to let these players run their contracts down, it's pure madness.
Keeps happening as well. A few people in the chat saying that yesterday he said he was staying, or that Pogba's been misquoted. Look, it's a news show. Yesterday morning it was from L'Equipe. It wasn't come from me. It was L'Equipe, or however you pronounce it, saying that he wanted to sign a new contract last night after the match with his own mouth. It's not me. I'm not stood there playing for bloody France saying Pogba wants to leave. Paul Pogba with his own mouth saying that let's see what happens. I quite liked Italy. Look, it doesn't mean he's leaving. But as Paul was saying there, he's just keeping his options open. That's what he's doing. He's not committing. And to be honest, Paul, I mean, I don't know. You as an ex-player yourself, if you're in your final contract and a story comes out saying that you want to stay at United, and that's not the case, you don't want all other clubs thinking, well, that's it, he's staying at United. You need to keep your options open. So it was, for me, it was inevitable that either Raiola or Pogba would come out and keep the options open, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of like it's one of those that, and sometimes the agent does a lot more work behind the scenes. Now, whether this was a situation where Pogba and his team felt that, listen, if I say I'm seriously thinking about staying, it would turn the fan back onto his side, and make everybody kind of happy that there's an opportunity that he might be staying for another 3 or 4 years. But in the meantime, his agent could be going around saying, listen, he's not staying. We're saying that at this moment of time, but he's looking to get away. Are you interested? Juventus, Real Madrid, Barca, all these teams. That's how it actually works. So one, you're protecting the player as far as going out and playing week in front of the United fans, and two, the agents doing this stuff behind the scenes to see who's available, because he'll have so many options. And you've got to think about it. You look at, Real Madrid. Look at Barcelona. They're picking up players on free agents. PSG got Messi for nothing. United got, so a lot of these players are going for nothing at their contracts, and so it's not a case of at the end of the season where Real Madrid are going to have to fork out £200 million for Paul Pogba. They get Paul Pogba for nothing, or Juventus they get for nothing. So why would he not keep his options open? It'd be mad not to. As a player, I would do exactly the same, because ultimately, if the club can't see that 2 years into my contract, that in 2 years' time I'm going to be a free agent and go for nothing, you have to do something about that. You have to. You either sell him then, when he wasn't playing well. But listen, don't get me wrong. There's been plenty of options and plenty of times where Mate United could have sold Paul Pogba. All right, we've seen it under Mourinho, under Ollie. There's been plenty of times. And if that was never going to happen, then they should have tied him down to a long-term contract, and shows loyalty to the Mate United fans and the club. But he hasn't. And now we're in a situation now, 5 months to go, him and Jesse Lingard are going to be a free agent. That's not good business for a football club.
Well, yeah, they could have let him go in the summer, couldn't they? They could have let him go for 40 million instead of nothing. And, a few people in the chat getting a bit, I think it's a Friday morning, chill out, everyone, at the end of the day. But the reality is he's not going to, I've always said it, Ince saying it, you're not going to sign a contract in October when in 3 months' time you can talk to Real Madrid, PSG, and anybody else who's not got to pay a transfer fee for you. So they're probably going to offer you pretty good wages. And Real Madrid project's quite interesting. PSG project's quite interesting. And the interesting thing as well, Paul, just to stick with Pogba as we open it up to what your thoughts are on Ollie. It would be very odd if Pogba's thinking about signing a new contract when, like you say, before Ronaldo came in, he's tearing it up. Everyone says he's going to break the assist record. Since Ronaldo's come in, he's struggling, and I never actually think it's because of Pogba. I think I think if you watched him play last night, he ran the show in the midfield. And I said last night on Twitter, I said it's criminal. I'm watching Paul Pogba run the show for France in the midfield in a Nations League semi-final, and he'll play in the final again, and he's played a World Cup final. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picks McTominay and Fred and sticks him on the bench or puts him on the left wing. And he was on the bench last week for the Everton game. So he hasn't even got a start in place for a United team at the moment because Rashford's back on the left next week. So, what is his role? This is the question.
Well, I mean, it was funny that you're right. And I watched the game last night, and what a game of football it was. It was an unbelievable football game. And, he ran the show from a central midfield position, and when you watched him play with Fred against Wolves, when he played in that position alongside Fred, it didn't work. The pair of them were terrible. So, and then you see him last night playing alongside Rabiot, and he seemed completely different.
And that Tchouaméni as well, he looks like I'd take him at United.
I'm sure he's top player, but there's loads of these top players. But might not always seem to have got to go for the biggest star and spend £67 million. There's a lot of golden nuggets that are around that. That's why I go back to recruitment. What are we actually looking at? What type of players? Are we always looking for the big names? Because there's a lot of players who can turn into big names. And you say that Tchouaméni last night came on was a top player. But even if you look at decoy last week against United, he was unbelievable. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. There are players out there, but going back to Pogba, you know, he looked happy, he looked comfortable. You know, he got a lot of the ball. You know, he was in his long passes. You know, he strolled through the game, he absolutely strolled through it, and he looked happy. And this is why I think European football is completely different to the Premier League. It really is. And I played in Italy, so I know what I'm talking about. You know, you get so much time. It's not as quick and, you know, intensive as the Premier League. It's not about people in space. You know, they stand off, they let you play. And that's what happened against Belgium last night. They just let Pogba have the ball, no pressure on him, no one was getting in his face, no one was harassing him. Come to the Premier League, that ain't happening because people want to stop those type of players. And that's why Pogba shines. And he's probably playing with better players. He's playing with better players. You've got more options up there. When you've got Mbappe, you know, Griezmann, Benzema, you know, he's got more options. And he's a passer of the ball. He assists. So, you know, every time he gets it, there's people making movement. There's people making angles. You know, at Man United, there's people standing still. There's people walking. We're going square and square and square. You know, so, you know, answer this question. Why would Pogba want to play in a team that does that when he's got opportunity to go and play in 2 or 3 teams who do completely different when it's the same as he's playing for his country? And he looked happy yesterday. And when you're happy, sometimes you come out after and you start saying stupid things to the press, because you do. And you say how it is. And I'm glad he said how it is, because I think the fans need to know. You know, I think it's only fair that the fans should know where Pogba's at. You know, he's a Man United player. And, you know, when they say, yeah, we'll see what happens, you know, that says to me that, listen, in a nutshell, he's keeping his options open. He's saying to his agent, let's see what's out there. Let's see what's out there first, and then I'll make a decision at the end of the season. But if he was that convinced that Man United was the team for him in the future, and then he would have signed now, or January, or October, you know, and he hasn't. So for me, it looks like the writing could be on the wall. And maybe it's one of those, Marky, that when Pogba was there, he was the main man at United. And I've said this before, and I've seen it with players. He was the main man, he was the big fish. Now suddenly Bruno's come in, Cristiano Ronaldo's coming in.
He has become swallowed up a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's, as I said, now he's not the main man, he's not the big fish. Everyone's not talking about Pogba, you know, he's on the bench against Everton, you know, and it's, oh, hang on, son, 5-6 weeks ago, I was like setting up goals, I was playing out my skin. Now, son, I'm getting aside. You know, as a player, you start thinking, maybe this ain't right for me. Maybe I need to start thinking where I'm going to be next season for a long term. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see how the next 4 or 5 months go with Pogba. You know, does he start him next week? I mean, you look at the fixtures, you know what he got coming in the next 5 or 6 weeks. They're massive, massive games, and it would give us a barometer to see where United are at. But those games Pogba's got to play. It baffles me, you know, that you're playing Everton, who are doing well under Rafa. They've done really, really well.
The bench was a joke, mate. It was a joke, that bench. Ronaldo, Pogba, bloody, obviously Donny's there. Matic should have started. It was a joke.
Listen, Marky, I'm saying, you know, I didn't understand the reason behind it, and I still don't. All right, and it's irrespective of the result. I think sometimes as a manager, you think, oh well, listen, I can get away with this, not giving Ronaldo a rest, not playing Pogba, playing Cavani, give some players some minutes on the pitch.
What was he doing though, Paul? Because I mean, at the end of the day, we lost to Villa. We were very lucky against Villarreal, and then he sits there as a coach and goes, "I'll get away with it." You're playing absolute crap, mate. You know, you've got to win those. It's like Sir Alex got caught on that clip, didn't he? Afterwards, saying you've got to pick your best team. And I think what he was basically saying is, we're not in a position to start rotating at the moment. We're not playing well. You've got to go and win those points. And Ollie thinks he's bloody. Nearly said Brian Epstein. He's the Beatles manager. Albert Einstein, doesn't he? He thinks he's bloody got all the answers. But
the thing is, and this is what I was going to say to you. If I'm a manager and I've got a Champions League game on the Tuesday, and I think, right, I'm going to have to go with this team because we've got a big game on the Tuesday, all right? And I'm going to save those 2 players for that game on the Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
International break. There's no games for 2 weeks. Why the hell would you leave Pogba out and Cristiano Ronaldo when they haven't got another game for 2 weeks for your club? It doesn't make sense. It's madness. You know, as I said, you've seen it with all these top managers. Yeah, I'll play this team for Saturday and I want to play this team for Tuesday. You know, there was no games. It was international break. Why is Ronnie not playing? Why is Pogba not playing? Why does he? You're right about the rotation system. You know, is he putting himself in a position now where he's got to try and make everybody happy? You know,
Well, I don't understand as well. This is a quick one about international as well. He starts Luke Shaw, who wasn't fit to play against Villarreal, which was a much sweetened game. He brings Luke Shaw in, who then will be going on England duty because he's played. And I'd be like, maybe it's just the Sir Alex in me because I was brought up by it. I was like, ain't no way Sir Alex is picking Luke Shaw in that game. He's going, he's injured, therefore he's not be able to go for England duty. And he brings him back. He wasn't fit. You know, he's probably at fault for the goal as well as Fred was. And he's now on England duty again. So...
It's very, listen, Sir Alex wouldn't have that. Sir Alex would not have that at all. You know, and I as a player wouldn't have that myself. You know, and I look at Luke Shaw, and as well as he's been very good over the last year or so, he's very, very timid. He's soft. You know, I mean, he's a soft player. Every time he gets injured, Nocky goes down, he's injured, and he come. You know, and that's not the mentality you want in a player. You know, he's got to be tough. You know, as he's a defender for Christ's sake, and you all see him was getting rolling over, then getting injured for one game, then back the next game. And you know, I don't know if you come off. I always said if you come off between 55 or 60 minutes in a game injured, there's no way possibly you can be fit for the week after. It can't happen. If I come off injured after 60 minutes because I pulled my hamstring, done my groin, not because I've got a sore ankle or my back's a bit stiff, you know, I'm missing 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw goes, I'm not sure I'm going to play next week, but then plays the week after, then goes away with England. Come on, you know, it doesn't sit right with me.
But you know what, mate? It comes down to we're going to get into the coaching, but it does come down into the coaching. I just want to wrap up the Pogba thing, by the way, and say, look, I agree with you. I think it's about happiness. He's very happy with France. I don't think he's particularly happy at United. But I do wish our fan base would stop, you know, sort of saying, "Oh, get rid of him." He's been here 6 years. It's not like he hasn't given it a fair crack of the whip. He's been here 6 years. Like Ince said, the club have allowed his contract to run down. This is now about only an idiot would sign a contract before January, you know, and also 6 years of waiting to win a title or something. The project's not happening. Why should he commit? So I'm not saying he won't stay at United, but I don't think it should be held against him that he's holding off on signing a contract. I know his agent's a bit of an arse, but the reality is, I think any player in that situation's got a right to wait until January and see what the other options are because he's been here 6 years, you know, and I think it's about happiness.
No, I agree with him. I think you might know 6 years he's had a lot of issues, you know, with Mourinho, you know, with the fans, you know, and there's not been 1 year where Pogba's played consistently well. You know, the top players at Man United play well every Saturday, 8 out of 10. Scholesy, Keeney, people like that, Giggsy. Every time. That's what Man United fans expect, week in and week out. Like Bruno did when he first came to Manchester United. Pogba's never had that kind of period of time. He's had little phases where we said, "Oh, he's been great for 3 games," and then all of a sudden it's gone sour. Then he's not playing. Then he gets injured. You know, so he's kind of been inconsistent in his journey at Manchester United. But after 6 years, and he's thinking, "Where's this club going? Where's this club going to be in 2-3 years' time?" And no one can answer that question, but I don't think he sees the signs at this moment that we're going to be Champions League winners or Premier League winners. I don't think he sees that. You know, I see us getting closer to the lots of these big teams, but I don't think Pogba sees that. And as much as, like, you know, he started at Man United, he wants to go and win trophies. You know, he wants, if Real Madrid come knocking on the door, and I said this the other day, whether you're Man United, Liverpool, City, if Real Madrid or Barcelona come knocking on the door, you're going. And we've seen that time and time again. You know, you don't turn down those clubs. And, you know, this probably be his last contract. It'll be his last, you know, his last big contract, I'd like to think. So everything's got to be right for him. And you're right, Mark, at the end of the day, he has to be happy. And he ain't happy at the moment sitting on the bench, that's for sure.
I've just disappeared a minute there. I'm back now. No, I agree with that. Look, let's talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer then. You have been quite critical of the way we've played this season. We haven't spoken since Everton. 14 points from 21. So we've dropped a third of our points. And, you know, as you said a couple of weeks ago, we've not really played anybody yet. Man City and Chelsea and Liverpool, they've all played each other. So they've played 2 difficult games. United haven't played any. It was interesting after the match and the early part of the week, lots of people who are probably watching the show now and around, you know, basically, you know, he's not the man, basically. He's not the man. It's, you know, we had 78% possession at home to Everton. They had the same amounts of shots that we did. Where do you think it's going wrong for him? And do you see him being able to turn this around? Because he always seems to turn it around when he's in trouble.
Yeah.
And then we end up back here in maybe 3 months, which is, if you've got the right sort of owner, they should be looking at that and saying this keeps happening. You know, what's your thoughts?
Listen, I think there's a pattern here, and we've seen that previously. You know, when Ollie first took over, and not in in the 3-year tenure. Listen, I'm not one for these people to say sack the manager. You know, I'm not one of those, because you know I've managed and I've been sacked 2 or 3 times, and it's not nice. You know, and I see.
It'd be funny if you did. It'd be funny if you went, get him out.
No, you know what? You know, I saw an article the other day. Diddy Harman was talking about Ollie and saying, you know, he should be sacked and like that. And I'm thinking, you know, one, he's got fuck all to do with you. You know what I mean? 2, you shouldn't be saying those things in the papers that he should be sacked. And I don't like that. You know, but what we have to understand with Ollie is that, you know, how many chances is he going to have? You know, when listen, we know he's got Edward Woodward on side. We know the relationship with them is very, very strong. And we also know that the fact is that he's spent enough money now to see a major progress in the way we play and the style that we play at. And we're not seeing that. Yeah, and you know, I'm honest, because I'm honest. I actually thought the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought we were very, very good. I
liked the first half. I thought we moved the ball quite well. I was disappointed to lose.
Fred, that's probably the best game I've seen Fred play. You know.
And then what did the twat do?
Yeah, I know, but you know, as much as like, you know, we all get on there and the fans get on Fred's back, you know, and rightly so at times. But I just thought Fred, that game I thought he was good. I think he was better. He was sharp. He was playing forward. He was playing in the gaps. And I thought, again, you know, was it a full stall again? Because after, you know, 25 minutes, I'm thinking, fucking hell, we'll just go back to type again. You know, we looked so good in the first 25 minutes. I think we're going to tear Everton apart. And then for some reason, we can't sustain it. We cannot sustain it. And, you know, I don't get how teams can be on the front foot and do things for a certain period of game and then stop doing them. And I don't know what happens in the game, why people stop doing them. You know, it's like Liverpool.
They drop their head. They drop their head when they concede a goal. You know, we were out of the game once Everton equalised, and we've always been like that in the last few years.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to remember, even prior to that, in the first half, Everton had 2 or 3 good chances. It wasn't for the defending and blocking. You know, we could have been in trouble. You know, so you know, I think with Ollie, I think, you know, it's always based on the support of the people above you. You know, and if they see that mate not going in the right direction, then they will stick with Ollie. You know, not just we moan and the fans moan. You know, it's about the hierarchy above you. Me as a football person, I see little flashes of what Man United could be. I really, really do. But then again, I see flashes of, you know, we've gone back again, and I've always felt that about United over the last 2-3 years. You know, I've kind of got, yeah, here we go. This is it. We've changed it now. And next minute, no, we're back to where we were. And I mean, it's always been that yo-yo thing with me. And I see that with Manchester United. You know, and you got to think about this. We were lucky, you know, we got a draw against Southampton. We should have got beat against Wolves. Really, if you think about it, you know,
we've got 4 more points than we should have. Really, at least 2 anyway.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. These next 4 or 5 games, you know, we could be at the title race after these 4 or 5 games coming up.
It's just out of it already.
No, but I'm saying, as much as we say we're out of it, we're not, because we moaned about United, and yeah, they're not been great. The performance hasn't been great, but we're only still 2 points off the top. You know, and
yeah, but you know what I think we're out of it. You know, do you ever watch Formula One?
Yes.
So I think I agree. We're only 2 points off the top, but the way I would explain it is, we're racing Formula One, right? Everyone else has had 2 pit stops. We've only had 1, and we've got to have a second one. So we've got to come into the pits at some point, and then that gap's going to get bigger, because we haven't played anybody. And Chelsea and Man City and Liverpool, they've all played tougher games than we've got played. Look, you know, Ollie, though, he could go and beat Man City and Liverpool.
But they do, because sometimes these teams are probably, you know, set up for United. You know, because United play their counter attack, and we've seen United go to City and turn them over. You know, they've done it the last couple of years. You know, so we've seen them go to Anfield and park the bus, but you know, they can turn these teams over, you know, on their day. And that's the thing about United. On their day, they can beat these big teams. And it would surprise me if that happened. You know, it really, really wouldn't. So when we talk about they're only 2 points away from the top and they're playing not great, this is an opportunity for Ollie to turn it around and saying we need to start playing the way we should, the Man United way. But I'm still waiting to see what this Man United way is. You know, I really, really am. So he's been so fortunate in where he's in the position Even Villarreal, they should have lost that game. They could have been out of the Champions League. They would have been, it's just, as Alex Ferguson said, it's always best to be a lucky manager than a good manager. So Alex used to say that to me all the time.
And he is a very lucky manager, isn't it?
He's a very lucky manager.
Which ain't a bad thing. It's not,
It's a great thing. I wish I was a lucky manager. That's for sure. I'd still be in a fucking job. You know what I mean? But he must wake up every day and pray, thank you, Lord, because I'm a slap Manchester United. But something has to change. Something has to turn around. You saw the reaction from Cristiano Ronaldo, walking off after the Everton game. There's an issue there now. There's a problem now that, and this is what happens when you've got big egos. If they're not playing, their problems. How does he deal with that? He's got to deal with the Pogba situation. Cavani's talked about going in January. There's a lot of unrest now. Donny, another one. So all of a sudden we've gone from bringing all these players in to absolutely unrest. And he has to sort that out. He has to get him playing to a way that he feels the team's right. And I don't think he knows his best team. Marky, I don't think he knows his best team.
No, it's very, very clear he doesn't he? He's got all these embarrassments at riches, and he doesn't know what to do with it. But
that can't work. Look at Klopp plays his best team. He very rarely changes the front three. He doesn't. He might bring Firmino in the last probably 10 minutes, but he might play one different player in midfield. But every week he plays his best 11. And Ollie, for some reason, and I'm not sure what the staff talk is, and how they come to the conclusion about playing this 11 or that 11. I don't know what they say behind the closed doors because I can't. But it baffles where you can't keep chopping and changing. There's no continuity. There's no fluidity. And this is what we're seeing. And when you don't do that, you see inconsistent results and performances. And this is exactly what we're seeing. But I don't think he knows what his best team is. We know he's always going to play Fred and McTominay. But even if it was me, if I was managing Man United, and in training, I'd say, right, I'm going to try 3-4 different partnerships in midfield. Whether I go with Bruno and Pogba and Donny, or Donny, Matic, Bruno. I just try to have a little look and just, maybe 10, 15 minute 11v11 games and put them in the midfield and see what balance I get. It doesn't look to me like they're even doing it or even trying to do that. Because every week it's Fred, McTominay, or maybe Matic, every week. And
the thing, you talk about Fred playing well, and I thought McTominay played better against Everton, but it's the limitations of the two players that they don't score, they don't create, and defensively, Damari Gray had him on toast. I mean, even in the first half, he skipped past both of them, and David Hay makes a good save. Even at their absolute limits, what do they offer? They don't offer goals, they don't offer assists, they don't offer domination of the park in relation to the ball. They don't win every tackle. In fact, their tackling stats are abysmal. I mean, I think Basuma's number one. That won't happen for much longer. His stats are about to go downhill, aren't they, if he's in the nick? But the reality is, it's their stats are terrible. But you're right. He sticks with them. I mean, you're an ex-midfielder. I mean, look, asking this question's flawed because Michael Carrick was a very good midfielder. But you look at that midfield. Surely, as you've managed, you've also played that role at a very, very high level. I just don't get what's going on. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody is talking about McTominay and Fred not being the massive problem. I mean, somebody said before we're a prime Paul Ince away from being a title-winning side. I'd agree. We're prime Roy Keane, Brian Robson. Even a Michael Carrick, it would make a massive difference. But Ollie's blind to it, and his coaching staff.
Yeah, but just don't put Michael Carrick with Ince, Keane, and Robson, please, Marky. Okay.
No, but I'm just saying that's how low you could drop.
Right, we'll fall out. All right, that we don't.
I like. No, but you know what? I like Carrick.
I like Carrick, but he's no Keane or Robson. Okay, that's for sure.
I still think we'd probably win the league if you put Carrick in that team because it's crap.
Bottom line is, everything in football, especially with midfield players, is about partnerships. All right, it's about working together as a partner. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work 4 years with Roy Keane at United and Brian Robson, and it's about complementing each other and what you do. And listen, I spent most of my time at United just sitting in midfield, but I would break attacks up and I would set attacks up. It wasn't just square, get it back, square, turn back out, go back to Maguire, back to Ryan, get it again. It wasn't that. It was getting the ball, getting in the gaps, go and get it again. Tackling, all action. Midfield players should be all action. I look at McTominay and Fred, and I call them crab players.
Crap or crab?
Crab. Because they just go side to side.
Crab or crab?
Crab. CRAB.
Crabs. All right.
Crabs,
You're right with both, but yeah, we just want crab.
Yeah.
Little insects, not the insects, bloody shell things.
I do, because they just go side to side, and that's what they do. They never look to take a risk. I never see them play 1-2s and get a shot off. I never see them ping it out wide and get themselves in the box. McTominay's 6'2". I don't see that. So I'm not sure whether is that down to them, or is that down to the orders that they've been given by the manager and the staff? Are they just saying, well, you two just sit here? But they're not sitting there, because we've seen Boy go the Villa game, the Everton game. But I mean, we got counter-attack, but they scored from our own corner. Now, how can Everton score from Mate Knight's own corner? If you've got a holding midfield player there, 2 holding midfield players, it could never happen. We saw it happen a couple of years ago in the Europa League with United. It should never happen. So he must feel that that's his best partnership, which doesn't say a lot about Donny. It doesn't say a lot about Matic. Because if he keeps playing... Or Pogba. So if he keeps playing them two, then for me, what does that say? He's got no faith in Donny. He's got no faith in Matic. And obviously, after watching Pogba last night, he'll probably end up playing Pogba there next week. You can go and see it, But for some reason, he's convinced that them two are his best options in that position. And I don't see it. A lot of people don't see it. Yourself doesn't see it. But as he tried it in the training, in the confines of the training in Carrington, as he tried different formations, because as we've seen, it's not working. And he's persistent on trying to get it to work, but it's not working. And I don't care whether it's we played well against Everton and they did okay. It ain't about that. It's Everton. You're entitled to play well against Everton, and that's what I said. But as much as you say he played well against Everton, I thought Decoy was the best player in the park.
Yeah.
For me, he bossed the midfield. It was up and down. It was powerful. He was making runs forward. That's what a midfield player should do. Not just sit there and get off the back four and go back square and then turn back out and start again.
This is happening a lot, though. I mean, it happened against Villarreal with Coquelin, isn't it? Every team we play at the moment, we're talking about, their midfield ran the game, because ultimately that's exposing a big weakness at United, isn't it?
Too right is. And we've seen it time and time again. And these players shouldn't be coming to Old Trafford and running the game. The Corey shouldn't be coming to Old Trafford and running the game. What happened in mine and Keeney's time, or Robson's time, people like that. But they do. We got a soft centre about us, and I'm not too sure. We look like sometimes we get bullied. I think sometimes we look like we look tired. We get bullied. We've got no legs, and I think sometimes we look like an academy team. I really, really do. I think sometimes, it's all about passing stats and all that type of stuff. And I tell you, I'd be interested to see how many times we go back after we go forward. I'd like to know those stats, because we do it time and time again. When we can go forward and try and take a risk ball and try and do something risky, we don't. We turn back out and go back again. And we do it time and time again. And sometimes I do think we look like an academy team. I really do, the way we try to play. Sometimes the keeper gets the ball, we all line up, so we're going to play it from the back. And they go, oh, no, we can't do that. Let's push up, go long. You don't see City doing that. And if they do go long, as we saw, against Liverpool, it's one ball straight into Foden over the top. This is what we talk about identity. If we're going to have a centre half split and we're going to play from the back, then do it, because everyone else does it, but we don't.
Yeah.
Don't fancy that. Oh, it's a bit risky. All right, let's all go up the park and let's just go long. To who? Lose the position, and then you're out of position. So for me, that's how it rolls me. But sometimes I think, he has to find his best team market. He's got to find, whether he upsets people and people don't like it. If I'm Donny sitting on the bench now, I'm thinking, and Pogba, I can't, and I'm watching that game, I'm thinking, if I can't get in this team, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. I understand if United are winning games and they're flying and the performances are great, but as a midfield player, if I was sitting on the bench, I'd be thinking, if I can't get in this team, something's not quite right.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I froze again there. Right, Ollie. I was singing this song last night, actually, Billy Ocean. When the going gets tough, Ollie gets rough. And it does. This is what happens. And we've got a really rough set of fixtures coming up. Leicester, Liverpool,
City, Chelsea.
Spurs, Man City, Chelsea. How are you expecting? I'm expecting a bounce back of results. And, you know, I think the director of football, Murta, has just come out and said that we don't deviate. We've got a long-term plan. And you said it yourself. It's 3 years, mate. I mean, how many more 3 years do they want? I mean, he's well above the average Premier League tenure now. I mean, this club, you know what I think it is? I mean, Newcastle have just been taken over. Let's see how long that project takes with money and determination to win. All this bloody long-term plan crap, you know, Mr. Murta, you can go and file it in your toilet and flush it because it's crap. Because you're just a paid employee of people who want it to take ages so they can sell shirts, sell tickets, and keep you spending money whilst nothing ever bloody happens apart from them making money. Because what I tell you, watch what happens with Newcastle, Man City, and Chelsea. There's no 3-year plan. They got rid of Lampard after 6 months to get a new manager in and won a Champions League. And our director of football is coming out and saying, we're not deviating from our long-term plan. What's that then? Your long-term plan of winning sod all?
You know what? I wish I could disagree with you, Marky, but I can't. I really can't. And, you know, you mentioned Chelsea, you know, their model, you know, and you think, listen, they bring a top manager in, they want to win. You know, not interested in finishing second, third, or getting beat in the Europa League final or whatever it may be. They want to win. And they bring the manager in who's a winner. They give him the money to do his job, and then here you go. We've seen it with Ancelotti, we've seen it with Conte, we've seen it with so many players, so many managers. That's their model. You know, that should be Maitland United's model, about winning trophies. You know, not about commercial, you know, finances that we can get. Not about bringing in the players and so fans can spend millions and millions on their shirts. It's about winning. Maitland United has always been about winning. You know, Ferguson built this team, you know, since 1985, and he put it into a mentality that winning at all cost. I don't see that, and I don't see it from the club. You know, it's more commercial. And listen, Edward Wood is not a football man; he's a commercial man. And you probably say from a commercial point of view, he's been great. But to the fans and us ex-players, I want to see trophies. Mate, it's about trophies. You know, selling millions of Ronaldo shirts don't win you trophies. You know, having the winning mentality wins you trophies. We see it with Chelsea. We see it with City. You know, and you know, you even see it with Watford. They have a model, you know, and they stick to the model. Yeah, they go up, they go down, but you know, if they feel someone's not doing right, like Cisco's just gone, I think he's done okay. But their model is sack the manager, bring another one in. We go down, we come back up. We go down, we come back up. They've got a model. You know, Maitland's model should be winning, and they don't look like. And you know, I kind of think last year was a kind of. If they'd won a Europa League final against Villarreal, I kind of look back to when we played Barcelona in '91, and the effect that had on us the next season. Maybe they've had a negative effect after losing last year. I don't know, but because as far as we were concerned in '91, we had a massive positive effect. And the next time we came into pre-season, you could just sense the mentality of the players. The hunger was there. We could see it in their eyes that, you know, this is it. You know, this is our time. You know, we want to win. You know, but we kept winning. We won in '89 in the FA Cup. You know, we got used to winning something. 91, 92, 93. This team hasn't won anything in 3 years. So
yeah,
when you use those words long term, you can't have long term. If you're not winning trophies in 2-3 years at Manchester United, unfortunately, you're going to be under pressure of losing your job. You know, at least even Mourinho won the FA Cup and Europa League. Yeah, his football wasn't great, and it was a bit part of the bus time, but he won trophies. Van Gaal, you know, won the FA Cup. You know, lost his job. So, you know, the proof's in the pudding here, Marky. You know, he's had 3 years. This Murta geezer, full of crap. He's just basically trying to say, listen, I want to be here for another 4 or 5 years, and we all got to be patient because it's a long-term project. Well, anyway, this long-term project, when Ollie first took over, was like, right, we're going to go young. You know, we're going to go an average age of so-and-so. You know, we're not going to go over 30s. Now he's got 33, 36, you know. Not just for Varane, but they are. So the model's gone from we're going to go young and hungry and fresh and build something to now, well, we've got people who are like over 34, 35, 36. So I don't get what the long-term plan is with United. I don't see the long-term plan. And it's not like we haven't got the finances. It's not like we haven't got the money. But if you're bringing in players, you know, as I said, like Donny for £40 million, Sancho for £70 million, you know, and these top players, and you're not winning trophies, then there's no long-term plan for United, because the fans won't have it. The fans want to be up there challenging. I've always maintained that. They want to be up there with Liverpool's and Cities. They have to be. So whether it's just like we've got a long-term plan, so we've got to sit and wait for 3 years for us to win something, that's absolute bollocks. That can't work at a club like United. It really, really can't.
Well, no. Also, I think that, you know, it's the reality is he's had £400 million to spend. How can you talk long term? And what annoys me about it is that we've had a bad start to the season. Ronaldo's here, one of the best players in the world. Varane's here, Sancho's here. He's had all this money. We took 1 point from 6 at home. We were lucky against Villarreal in the Champions League. We've taken 14 from 21. It's a really bad start to the season. I wouldn't say sack the manager, but what I don't appreciate is the director of football coming out and, you know, the club coming out and basically saying we've got a long-term project. This is a 3-year project already. That's too long. So, you know, the club basically, it's like you said about winning trophies, the mentality in that football club it's not even on Ollie. This goes to the very top. It's not a winning mentality football club. No. You know what, the fans are starting to worry about results. So what do the club do? Right, PR spin. We need to spin. Get another kit out. Get another training top out with Ronaldo on it. You know, let's get a Christmas jumper out, something like that. It's all about how do we make people feel like this is okay, and make them spend money, and that's basically it. Whereas an Abramovich or a Sheikh Mansour, they would be like, Ollie, you're in the office. What the fuck's going on? If you don't sort this out by November, you're gone. I ain't got time for any of this. But this club, I said this yesterday. I said it a week ago. Ollie's job is safer than Thomas Tuchel. But and it's safer because if they have a bad run as a results at Chelsea, you know Abramovich will sack him regardless of what. He sacked Mourinho 3 months after winning the title. So yeah. His job is probably the safest job in the Premier League. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, but it is. And because the owners, the crap.
Because the owners, because they don't give a monkeys really about the football or the fans. Excuse me. All they care about is what they're taking out of the club. You know, the merchandise they're making on it. That's all they're worried about. But, you know, and that's why I can understand the fans hating the Glazers or disliking them, because they don't care about the club. And Ollie's sitting there thinking, well, if they're happy because they're taking millions out of the club and they're happy about that and are not too bothered about the football, then
where's the pressure? There's no pressure. It's not Ollie's fault, is it? There's no pressure.
I'm going to be here for a long, long time if that's the case, you know. And that don't make sense to me. Listen, I just feel, you know, at the moment everything's negative about Manchester United, and I'm trying to have a positive look at it because we are still up there, you know. And, you know, I think the next 6-7 fixtures won't determine anything. I think if we were to lose all 6 of them, I think he's still been a job.
I do as well, yeah.
I honestly believe that, you know, but long project, no, doesn't work. You know, you don't see that. You can use, I mean, I can't imagine seeing Ollie there for the next 6-7 years, unless he's winning things. If he thinks that Mate Knight can go another 3-4 years without winning trophies, then he shouldn't be in the job. You know, he should not be in the job. And
you know what? I don't even blame him. I think at the end of the day, if you've got a restaurant and your chef's rubbish and everyone's complaining about it or starting to complain about it, that's down for the restaurant owner to sort out. And you know, a lot of people want to go, oh, Ollie out, Ollie out. We've done Mourinho out, we've done Van Gaal out, we've done Moyes out. Let's do Ollie out. You know, at the end of the day, for me, I said this before, I want to see the owners go before I see Ollie go, and that ain't going to happen because if you haven't got ambition at the top of an organisation, how are you expecting to win? You're always, you know, we brought a winner in Mourinho and he got, I know the football was crap, but he got very frustrated with the board and they booted him. Yeah,
definitely. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's as I said, I keep going back to relationships. Maybe, you know, Mourinho knew what had to be changed. He knew what he wanted to bring in 2 centre-halves, Mourinho. They didn't allow him to do that. You know, but he knew what that team needed to be successful. Okay, yeah, I get it. Football was, you know, very mundane at times. I understand that. But from a manager point of view, from a winner's point of view, from a serial winner point of view, he knew that he had to go and challenge the board up the hierarchy to say, we need X, Y, and Z to make this team where we need to get it from. And they didn't like it. I said, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. Maybe Ollie's not putting those demands on the hierarchy. Maybe it's just a nice relationship, and maybe Ollie's not that serial winner where he goes, well, I need this, I need that, I need this, and I need that. Maybe he's not doing that. Maybe he can't do that. Maybe he hasn't got that pillar of power at the moment because of the way the team are playing. I don't know, but you can imagine Tuchel when he went to Chelsea. He goes, if I'm coming to Chelsea, I need that, I want this, I want that. If I don't get it, then we ain't going to win anything. Conte's the same. He was talking about going to Tottenham. Well, I need this, I need this, I need that, I need that. Levy said, no, can't do that. Because Conte's a winner. That's what it takes. Yeah. Is Ollie and his team showing that desire to be winners? Yeah, they want to win. Yeah, they want to be successful. And if Ollie's in a job and doing well, that means United are doing well and we're winning things. But, are they natural winners as managers and they haven't won anything to be that way? We've had 3 years at it now. And that's why I think last year losing to Villarreal was such a shame as far as taking Ollie forward winning the trophy, because that's what you have to do as a Manchester United player. You have to win a trophy. And once you win that trophy, you can kind of just go and just take the weight off your shoulders. Now the pressure's on Ollie to win the trophy. So if they don't win one this year, I don't want Murto coming out and saying, oh, yeah, well, listen, we don't accept that. It's a long-term plan. And, but as a long-term plan, Cristiano Ronaldo's only going to play for another year, if he's lucky. Cavani will be gone. We don't look like that. It's a long-term plan, because by the end of next season, we're going to have lost about 4, 5, 6, 7 players.
Yeah. I was just checking there. I think on Monday, it's 23 years since you wore your bandage for England in Rome.
Jesus Christ. Have you got nothing else better to think about or look at?
No, I was going to ask you this question anyway, because there's always a way with me. This is feeding into something. So 23 years ago on Monday, Paul Ince played in I remember I was down my local pub. We really enjoyed it. It was a 0-0 game, and he had his bandage on. He played in the midfield with Gaza. I think Gaza played that one, and Beckham definitely played 0-0. I think we qualified for the World Cup because of that, didn't we?
98, yeah. Sure.
So 98. See where I'm going now. Get knocked out against Argentina. Beckham gets sent off. I've always wanted to ask this question. You go to extra time. You battle through. Sol Campbell should have scored a goal. Ref chalked it off. Yeah. We lost on penalties. We won't talk about them. You get back in the dressing room. David Beckham, was he in the dressing room when you went back in? And also, what happened in the dressing room after that? We've spoken about after the Cantona kick. What was it like after that? Were you angry with Beckham? Was everyone angry? No,
it wasn't. I was angry with myself.
Yeah. Because
I missed a penalty. So it was it was a funny game. But when I first got to France and I looked at our team and I thought, right, we all kind of had this feeling that this team can go and win the World Cup. We had everything, every component you needed in a football team. Caveat, we had it. We had men, we had leaders, we had talent, we had flair, we had pace, we had everything. We actually felt we were the team to beat without actually coming out and saying it. And to be fair, we were kind of unlucky. For the last 16 of a World Cup, you get Argentina. You don't really get that nowadays. It went to extra time, and I was like, I felt I had a good game, a really good game.
Well, you've got to do when you play most of it. Well, a good hour with 10 men, and you're in the midfield.
And I thought, I'm having a penalty. I fancy this. You know what I mean? So, you're walking up there, and you just everything's going through your head, everything. You know what I mean?
It was a crap penalty.
It was a good penalty, to be fair.
It was crap.
People just went the right way. If the kick goes the other way, it's a great penalty.
You know what you did? You put too much. You opened your foot up and you tried to place it in. It would have looked good if the keeper had gone the other way. It would have looked good if it had gone in.
That's what I'm saying. So,
but you know what? Your penalty, they just missed, I think.
Yeah, I kind of got away with it because they missed and I'd missed, so it's like still levels. And then
but if we'd scored that one, I reckon we'd have had the momentum.
No, because Batty missed an also after. So anyway,
he was even worse. he nearly put himself in the net. He did a little hop afterwards, didn't he? He ran up and sort of hopped in, tried to score himself.
Jesus Christ! So anyway, going back to the situation.
Don't put holding midfielders on penalties. That's a lesson.
That makes sense, does it? Why would you put two midfield players who ain't scored all their lives taking penalties? Anyway, it is what it is. But going back to that situation, it was like with Simeone, it was a petulant kick. It wasn't. It didn't whack him. You know what I mean? It was like a little kick round the back. It's more like a flick than anything. And the reaction from Simeone was absolutely diabolical. I mean, got lost all respect for him after that. Still do to this day. And if our game was tough in those days, in the 90s, it was tough. Nowadays it's not so tough. You did it in today's football, you wouldn't even you might have got a yellow card. So for Beckham to get a red card for that was madness, pure madness. So when we saw the red, I just thought, wow, that's us done. That's us finished. That's us out at the tournament. But to be fair, we were fantastic. We really, really were. And I remember the ball, Sol Campbell scoring, because it was golden goal, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
Ball come over and it was cut Sol and he had it in the net, and we all ran over to Glen Eldor. Everyone
he played on, didn't he? The ref played on. He conceded.
Yeah, he played on. So it's like we're like, I'm running over to the gaffer, getting, we're through. Like the gaffer's going, get back. And I think, what are you on about? Next minute, they fucking go down. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. Sheriff had a goalkeeper, which he didn't foul the goalkeeper, but obviously give a foul. And I think when we got into the changing room after, there was. Obviously, Bex was devastated. He was still young. Bex was still young, remember? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was absolutely devastated for a young kid. To have that, and I was very good friends with Bex, because when we stayed in Charlotte, in France, we had rooms next door to each other, so we used to pop in and out. But he was devastated. It really, really was, and I mean, it was in tears. Sometimes you can't console people, but I was kind of like in tears anyway because I just missed a penalty. And then you think, bloody hell, I've got to go out. I've got to see my wife and my young kid Thomas at the time. He was only 5, and you're thinking of what all the fans are going to say and all that stuff. And a lot of emotions are going through your head. You know what I mean? You're kind of thinking, well, console Bex. Then you've got David Batty, and then everyone else has got the head down. And for the first 10 minutes, no one said anything. It was deadly quiet. Deadly quiet. Everyone just sat there, heads down, couldn't believe it. Bex was obviously very upset. And then after that, once we had a shower, and I just listen, Bex, it's what it is, mate. But there wasn't a sending off. You got nothing about it. We still should have got through on penalties with a better team. Just move forward, son. You're a young kid. You're a great player. Go and show, do what you're all about, And then the response to that from the minority of the England fans was absolute disgrace. Really, really, really was. No one deserves that anyway, not even your worst enemy. But for a young kid like Bex, to have like hanging models over the bridges and all the stick that he got, that just it was a lot for him to take on as a young kid. You know what I mean? There's a lot for him to have all that. The whole nation, well, not the whole nation, but majority of minority of football fans, English fans, absolutely.
Well, people forget that, don't they? I mean, I'd even forgotten that. We saw what happened with the black players who missed the penalties in the final in the summer. I mean, look, that is appalling. It's racist, and nobody condones that at all. But you dread to think what might have happened. I mean, we didn't have social media then, but there literally was dummies of Beckham hanging off bridges and all sorts, wasn't there? Even the papers didn't help. No,
the papers were lapping it up. They was lapping it up. And they had no kind of understanding of what it would do to David Beckham, as in his career. You wouldn't know anything the same as probably with Southgate in '96, exactly the same type of thing. But I get criticisms, and I get there are some idiots about, but the way some fans reacted to David Beckham and the press was a total disgrace, and how it affected his mum and dad, his sister, Victoria. There was a lot of people who got hurt by this, and it was a continuation. Excuse me, it was a continuation. It wasn't just 1 week and that was it. It went on for months and months, and I admire David Beckham so much because the way he's managed to turn that around.
He won the treble the next year, didn't he?
And the treble, 99. But not from talking from an England point of view, not from a Man United point of view, just from the way he managed, even when he started playing back for Man United, he was getting stick from the away fans, and he couldn't get away from it. And the way he's managed to turn that round, as a man, you just got to admire him. You really, really have, because I know what he was going through. I know all the crap he was going through, and it's not nice to see that. Dummy body of you hanging over a bridge. It's not a nice thing to see. You don't expect football fans to do that. No. But as I said, I think he came back stronger. He made him mentally tougher. I mean, scoring the winning goal at Old Trafford, against Greece to qualify for the 2002 Euros, that kind of did into the fans again. But you shouldn't have to go through that, but he's a better person and he's a tougher person for it. And I think, all those idiots who did that back in '98, should always feel ashamed about them. They think it's funny, but it's not funny. They're hurting people and affecting people. And listen, if Beckham had gone and done Eric Cantona and Simeone, then you kind of think, yeah, but it was a tap of the back of his legs, and it's the reaction of Simeone that got Beck sent off. But he's come out through the other side, and we see where he is now. He's probably the darling of English football still.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on again. It's flown by, and nice to get a bit of international stuff as well as all the Pogba and Ollie chat. Yeah,
as always, mate. As always.
We got Driving with Goldbridge with Ince coming out at midday. I've dropped the link in the description.
Driving with Miss Daisy. Can you look Driving with Miss Daisy?
You've got to give it a watch, everybody. Links in the video description for the channel it's going to be on, because it won't be on United Stand. But it's a series I've been doing, yeah, we've got Ince on it. It's a good video. I've not actually watched it in its entirety yet. I've only seen a few clips, and it's good. But it's out at midday on my channel. I've dropped the link in the video description, so make sure you click it, subscribe, and then when it comes out midday, you'll get it. It's a good episode. So we've got a double today. Nice,
love it, Sam.
But you got the boxing. We got crap England tomorrow night playing Andorra.
I'm not watching. Are you going to watch it?
No.
I can't
What's
watch it.
the point? It's a shit game. I watched the Hungary game on Tuesday, but Andorra, get lost.
But why would you watch a Hungary game? That's going to be dog's mess and all.
Yeah. I just hate the international break, basically. I just want to get back with United now.
I'm going to watch Scotland versus Israel.
I've had enough of McTominay, thanks. I ain't watching him anymore. He'd be playing centre-back anyway. He can't even get in there midfield normally. I'll tell you what, I'm not watching bloody Brazil. Fred's playing for them. I mean, God, I don't know what's going on. They're obviously good players, but we're just not getting the best out of them, are we? I don't know. Maybe they're not.
That's the part of being a top manager. Get the best out of your players.
Right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, Ince.
Cheers, Marky. See you next week.
Speak to you soon, pal.
Okay, mate. Ciao, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And thanks, everyone. Oh, he's gone already. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We will be... Let me just sort this out. I hate it when it's across me like that. We will be live on the 8 o'clock show tonight. Of course, if anything breaks, we'll go live. But come on, it's a Friday on an international break. Make sure you check out Driving with Goldbridge at midday, because it's Paul Ince in a car driving around with me. It's very... I know not everybody watches my Driving with Goldbridge series because it's not always to do with football, but it's very United. Obviously, you've got Ince on it. Links in the video description. If you click it and subscribe, you'll get your notification at midday when it comes out. 8 o'clock show tonight as usual. And I really enjoyed the show. We covered everything on that. So really enjoyed it. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care.